just you just wanted to do a good comedy, good solid comedy that you would do evening. Were you playing a revolution?
No, I mean, and it's terribly surprising. I mean, I'm very surprised to realise that we're in a room in Lisbon, in Portugal, 40 years later, and we're talking about this show that we did. It seems extraordinary. I think what we thought was that my pair and I had been writing sketches, finding it quite hard, and we thought that John Cleese and Graham Chapman were writing the funniest other stuff. And we thought, well, if we all get together, we'll write the funniest show at the time at the moment. But we never thought it was funny. The idea that we'd still talking about it 40 years later never occurred to us at all.
It's not only the shows, it's the movies, and then it's the documentaries, everything, the books. So it's not just a group of sketches on the 70s. It's also all the great movies. I mean, Life of Brian. Great movies. And it's something that nobody ever did it with the fact.
Well, I must say, when we were doing the film, actually when we were writing it, I did think to myself, we looked at a lot of other Hollywood movies about the life, biblical movies, The Road and The Greatest Story Ever Told, and all these big Hollywood epics. And I noticed that we watched these films, we watched the first reel, and then we watched the next reel or something else. And I noticed that they all had one thing in common, and that was that everybody spoke in the very same way. We are so honoured to be living in the time of Christ. We get people talking like that. People are going to be so offended.
Not the Portuguese movies, they still talk like that. I'm reading here, I read it in Portuguese, but then I try to give the idea. On this book that you all should buy, because it's an autobiography, but in the end, when Terry Jones is speaking about what Monty Python achieved, is saying that the best thing they achieved was when I was talking with a friend that was a teacher in a school in a little city in the interior of England. He said that Monty Python caused a change in voice in that village. Before Monty Python, they were all fighting with each other, and after Monty Python, for a short period, they were doing silly things. And so you think, well, what Monty Python achieved in a small town of England, in the village of England, in the interior of England, there was a short time when a small group of people, instead of fighting, did silly things. That's what Monty Python achieved. I would say that this village is very big now.
But I just wish. Well, people do silly things. I mean, George Bush does really silly things. But unfortunately, they do silly things which have unfortunate outcomes, like killing a million Iraqis. And I wish people did silly things that were harmless. And I hope most of them. I hope Monty Python can claim to have been mostly harmless, as that was Adams put it in.
I am very curious about this. You play amazing middle-aged housewife.
I have been. I have to tell you, when I was not Mandy, the Virgin. We called that character the Virgin Mandy. But when I was playing the middle-aged women on television, I have to tell you, I look exactly like my mother. Uncanny.
Did you like seeing you in that those clothes?
Well, I don't know.
Great experience.
Yeah,
That's my boy. And you also you also appear naked in some sketches. Is this kind of experience liberating? You are very relaxed playing the art on the.
Actually, it was Terry Gilliam who originally did the nude pianist, the nude organist actually, and it was only then when we decided to film it as well that he couldn't do it because he was doing his animation, and so I had to do it. I always got the parts that nobody else wanted to play. But when the one when I was doing the hermit in the hole in the Life of Brian, the hermit who lives down a hole, and he hasn't spoken for 15 years or something, and my costume for that was a beard. And I remember very early in the morning having the makeup lady having to sort of stick the beard onto my penis. I'm thinking, well, 5 o'clock in the morning. And then a bit later in the day, we had this crowd of Tunisians, and I was directing them. I was saying, look, everybody has to go over there and then do this and that. And Michael Palin came up to me and said, Terry, you do realise you'll start making I just had forgotten. It was my costume.
You were saying that you did the things nobody else wanted to do it, like directing, or?
Yeah, no, actually directing was exactly that. I mean, nobody else was interested to begin with, especially during the TV shows. And so I sort of took it on myself to actually. I always went with the director to look at the locations, to check how he was going to film things, and then the editing. I was always there for the editing. Our director, Ian McNaughton, was he's Scottish, you know, and he says, "Well, we've got 2 hours. We've got 2 hours to edit the show, you know." And I think, well, anyway, so we started editing. In fact, we spent the whole day editing the show, and eventually I'd get everybody else to come in and have a look at it. But it was hard work to begin with, but eventually Ian sort of got much better and we worked together okay.
What was it hard to direct all those strong personalities and egos?
But not really, no, because it's like, the directing was really just making sure you didn't do the wrong thing, really. It was like, so we could, we'd written stuff, we were performing it, so we kind of knew what we were doing. I mean, occasionally you'd say, I think take that down a little bit, just do it a little bit straighter, don't be so funny. Yeah, that's my usual direction really, is don't be so funny. But generally it was, we knew what we were doing really, so it's just making sure the camera's in the right place and things looks right.
We were talking about Monty Python, but since lots of